No, I'm just kidding.
Alright.
Bonelab, Stress Level Zero's newest release that came out roughly a week ago. I want to start off by saying that Bonelab is a good game, a very good game, but it's important to mention the great game that came before it, that being Stress Level Zero's Boneworks. If you're watching this, you probably already know what Boneworks is, but in short, this dingus, Arthur Ford, uses a framework known as Boneworks to connect to the Voidway in an attempt to achieve immortality. The game has a bunch of puzzles and fun physics interactions all along the way to Ford reaching the clock tower, where he plans to reset the system clock and do all the immortality shit. Bonelab carries on much of these elements with plenty of physics interactions, specifically ones with these big ball things, but in my opinion, these interactions are jankier than the ones in Boneworks. In my first playthrough, I reached a section where I had to launch one of these large balls into a big button to open a gate by controlling these two smaller buttons. Though I couldn't seem to get the ball high enough to hit the button, it just kept landing short each time. Turns out all I had to do is just press the button better? Or in true Boneworks fashion, I could always just skip the puzzle entirely. With that being said, Bonelab has many story elements that I would consider better than Boneworks. Bonelab's intro is amazing. It sets the tone, introduces the setting, and is by far the most engaging VR game intro I've ever experienced. As your life begins to fade, a knife magically spawns in front of you, and by cutting yourself down, you plummet into this deep cave system full of corpses. I mean, not one, not two, but at least 4 decaying bodies. This really grabs your attention and shows you that the story is engaging. At least for now. Then not far from there is another great story moment, the elevator. This story beat preys on a big fear of many people. That being inside an elevator as the cables snap and you start flying towards the ground, all while your brain tells you, you're gonna fucking die. Then the action keeps coming with level 4, Mine Dive. You fly around to this janky little minecart thing and hope that you don't die or fall into lava. All of this crescendos until the end where you get ripped into the void and meet the big anomaly, Jimmy.
Here. Take this body log. Go fill it with avatar. Come back.
From here you're thrown into a bunch of mini-games, each one based around a specific avatar and their highlighted attribute, except for the moon level, that's just here to fuck around in. You complete each one and obtain its corresponding avatar, and then you're done. You get 2 more actual levels and 1 more cool story moment with Jimmy before the game is over. So, thanks for getting me the body log right as the story was reaching its conclusion game. And yeah, that's Bonelab's story. For me it only took 4 to 5 hours, which is odd seeing as how I dragged Boneworks campaign out into double digits. I'm sure that similar to Boneworks, a lot of amazing lore stuff can be pulled out of this game, but my meatball brain can't be the one to do that. There even seems to be elements of cool future content already in the game, with these holographic cards scattered around the maps and keycard scanners that can't yet naturally be opened. Then, outside of story are all the extras. The sandbox is still a great time, especially with new additions like the bone cart and constrainer. No, come here. Come here. Come here, little buddy. Come on, come on, come on.
What?
Beating crowds of NPCs up never seems to become dull, especially when pans are involved. You want a sniff? You want the pan? You want the pan? In summary, I feel that Boneworks had more of a game story in comparison to Bonelab's tech demo-esque feel, but I find that with what story Bonelab had, it told it in a more fun way. As for the extra game modes, it's more of the same. Things like parkour and experimental are cool additions, but it's clear that Stress Level Zero is putting focus on community additions through modding with the Marrow SDK. So, not perfect, but not too far from it. Except for the soundtrack. That shit is perfect! I mean, just listen to this. Or this. Or this crazy hard track.
Absolute fire.